ETC produced its first show in 2007, but we didn't start producing full seasons until 2009. So we have, at the end of the 2018 season, officially produced 10 seasons of live theater here in Chattanooga. So moving into 2019, it will be what could essentially be known as our next chapter or our next 10 years. And the theme that we've chosen for season 2019, which kind of goes along with where we are and the development of our organization, is the idea of identity.
Hello, and welcome to Sharing the Experience, the official podcast of Ensemble Theatre of Chattanooga. I'm your host, Kyle Coplen.
So over the last several years that we've been producing theater, one of the things that we've learned is that it truly does take a village to achieve what it is we want to achieve and what it is we've been trying to achieve. And that's a big deal for us. We really consider ETC to be a family unit. We try to really engage the ensemble in such a way that they feel like they're a stakeholder in what we're doing and where we're going and what our vision is. And when people feel that it's clear to us, that they become a little more involved and care a little bit more about what they're doing. And so, it does take a village, and we're happy to be surrounded by the village that we've mustered.
That's Garry Posey, Executive Director and founder of ETC. We've created this podcast in order to share the experience of our company with you, the listener. What do I mean by share the experience? Well, in addition to learning the exciting and very entertaining history of Ensemble Theatre of Chattanooga, you will also get exclusive backstage access into each of our productions. And, of course, get the latest news and updates concerning our production schedule. Welcome to episode 1. I'm glad you're here. For our first episode, we are so excited to officially announce Ensemble Theatre of Chattanooga's 2019 season. For more on this, I'll turn it back over to Garry. Garry?
As I mentioned earlier, our season for 2019 revolves around the idea of identity, searching for one's identity, defining one's identity, having one's identity defined for them, what it means when you discover your identity, and maybe how your identity can affect other people. So we're really looking at identity as a thematic sort of approach to what we're doing next year. One of the reasons why we pick a theme for each season is just because there's a vast amount of work of musicals and plays and projects that we want to produce, yet we have to, kind of corral those ideas. And we have found that by picking some theme, for instance, 2018, we used the idea of family. And since ETC considers itself a family, and what it is to be family, and this time period and how we define that. So we use that to sort of corral our ideas and get a sense of the projects and the stuff that we wanted to produce. And so as we move into this next phase of our life, the next 10 years, if you will, we really thought identity would be something that we could really relate to, since, we're really trying to identify what it is we are, what it is we do, and why it's important to the community here in Chattanooga, or to the lives that we have chosen.
All right. Well, I'm really excited to go ahead and reveal this season because if you've been following us on social media, you may have been involved in a game that Gary and some of the other members of our team have been posting. They've been posting clues to this upcoming season. So I'll start out with a little clue, a little introduction to give people one more guess if they want to call it. Pause the podcast right before you reveal it. And then you can go into a little intro as to why you chose the story. And then we'll announce each show. All right. So it's 1969, Charlotte, North Carolina. The cops receive a phone call from the owner of a family grocery store. 2 of his employees have not shown up to work for several days, and they would like the cops to do a courtesy check on the ladies. They are found dead in their home, sitting next to each other, near a heating vent.
So in 1997, I worked at a small musical theater in upstate New York called the Mac Hayden, or as we called it, the Mac. And every Friday night after whatever show it was we were performing, there would be this dessert and coffee cabaret. Homemade goodies, fresh coffee served up in our rehearsal room, and there would be a piano in the corner, and then cast members would just file in one after the other and share their amazing talents with us, singing in a cabaret style, all different sorts of music, mostly from musicals that they liked, but rarely from the musicals that we produced that summer. Anyway, I worked there 2 summers, in 1997 and 1998, and both years I was there was this pair of sisters, Carla and Kelly Shook, and they had grown up at the Mac. And this first summer that I was there, and one of these random cabarets that I attended, I had my soda and my piece of pie, and I sat down after a very long week of working in the costume shop, and these 2 girls sang this song about never leaving each other. I will never leave you. And the song was mesmerizing. Their performance of it was just astounding. And when I learned the context of the song and what musical it was from, I was immediately hooked. And so 22 years later, here I am finally able to mark this show off on my bucket list. And I couldn't be more excited about the direction that I am planning to take this show.
All right, here it is, guys. ETC opens our 2019 season with the musical Sideshow. This is a show about Siamese twins and entertainers Daisy and Violet Hilton. And this production promises to explore the idea of who we identify ourselves as when the world around us uses labels. Guys, I am so excited about this show. I know I'm going to say that each time. I'm going to apologize in advance. My role in ETC is the percussionist for their musicals, and I am just so pumped. This soundtrack is incredible. The story is fantastic. This is going to be a great show. Do not miss it. All right. Clue number 2. Close your eyes. Imagine you are seated on a plush velvet cushion attached to an ornate heavy chair. Feel the presence of a mass choir sitting behind you, colleagues seated to your left and your right, the perfume of your wife being carried by the powerful central heating air conditioning unit sitting atop the massive colossal sanctuary that your vision helped to erect. Feel the trickle of sweat bead up at your temple as... Amen. You now open your eyes and see your congregation. Thousands of eyes looking to you for guidance.
So there is a genre of theater that gets a really bad rep because most of it is so message-driven and restrictive that stories sometimes get lost and characters become stereotypes or archetypes even. Truth of the matter is that this genre has a real place in the grand scheme of what we as artists are doing, but so many times it is real difficult to find a script that allows for the exploration within the context of the primary themes of this specific genre. So I have been looking for years to find something with the message and the devotion to the themes and ideals of this genre, but that also doesn't ask you to do anything more than understand, or at the very least tolerate, the idea that there might be more than one truth.
Yes, exactly. ETC's next production seeks to explore how one's identity can have a profound impact on the world around them, and the perils of not making one's identity one's personal responsibility, with Lucas Nath's production of The Christians. All right, clue number 3. I've got to get a scary voice for this one. Hang on. Hang on. There might be an urban legend somewhere in the vast geographies of urban legends of a place where you go when your pee-pee dance is over, and I'm told, they say, it's not a field of four-leaf clovers.
In 2001, I was tasked with the responsibility of taking a group of young theater kids on a New York City excursion, Broadway shows, sightseeing, master classes, meet and greets, etc. There were a host of shows that this group of students wanted to see while we were up there, and some of them, like The Full Monty, well, I just didn't think that their parents would agree with the context. However, there was one show that no matter how much any of us tried, we were not about to derail the opportunity for some of these kids to experience. They obsessed over the soundtrack, cast and performed roles during build days and strikes and car rides. I found myself joining in on that obsession.
Yes, another musical. And come on, Gary. I mean, I know I'm not an actor, but were you not impressed by my maniacal laughter? No, whatever. Through the exploration of one's identity being defined by one's freedom and privileges, ETC will journey into the satirical world of Urinetown. Now, I'm pretty sure Gary wants me to quote some of the lyrics here. I'm not going to sing for you, but I will tell you this musical is interesting. I had never heard of it until I learned that we were doing this, and this is, you just have to experience it for yourself. It's very entertaining, hilarious, and weirdly very thought-provoking. Don't miss it. All right, next clue. We come into the world to parents whose responsibility it is to help define our identity. Sometimes we are free to develop with them, sometimes we're not. Sometimes we are free to ask questions, sometimes we are not. Sometimes we obey and respect, but sometimes we rebel. Sometimes we forgive.
Back in 2009, so this would have been the first year that ETC produced an actual season, we launched a short-lived program that we keep threatening to bring back, but we haven't yet, called New Play Tuesday. And basically, one Tuesday of each month, we would meet and perform in a staged reading a new play. We weren't really able to get the program off the ground and running like we would want, but we did discover through that program a one act from a friend of mine in college who I had found out had embarked on a writing career when he graduated. It's a brilliant family drama told in a style of performance that ETC had found a lot of success with. And so the reading, might have been attended by like 5 people. I don't think there were very many people in the audience that night, but the impression of the show has been with us ever since. The playwright turned the one act into a full length, and along with a second play, sent them to me for feedback. And I remember not liking the expanded version of this one act. But I think it was really because I liked the other play at the time a lot better. So I think this one just kind of fell out of my radar, and I didn't even think about it that much. But thinking about our season this year and trying to find something unique and different that fit our theme of identity, I was reminded of these two shows. And so I sent a message to my friend Rob, and I said, hey, we're looking for stuff to present for next year. Would you be equitable for us to, or amenable rather, for us to produce either of these two scripts? And he sent it back to me and really wanted me to produce the extended version of the one act. And I reread it, and the thing is, it had been sitting in my email inbox for like 2 years or more as an unopened email attachment. And so finally I reread it, and I don't even know what I was thinking 2 years ago when I didn't like it very much, because this new reading, new perspective of where I guess I am as an artist and where we are as an organization. But the script, the story really set something for me that I really think that I want to share with Chattanooga. So we'll be relaunching a new program called our Brave New Works Festival, and this will be the first of that program for this relaunch. It's a regional premiere, and I think that it's the kind of show ETC wants to be remembered for doing, and the kind of show that we excel at doing.
All right, everybody have your guesses? There's very little chance you got this one right, but I'm so excited to announce that in an effort to relaunch our Brave New Works New Play Festival, ETC will produce the regional premiere of Rob Smith's Dust. So, for this next clue intro, what have you, I want to talk about dreams. Let's get philosophical for a moment here, guys. No, but for real, Gary, I used to dream of being a professional musician, and you guys gave me that opportunity. A little bit about my history. I was a nerdy band kid, like marching band kid, and after college, I didn't really have an outlet to play music. I moved to a new state, to a brand new area, didn't know really anybody here. And at the suggestion of one of my friends, I sent out an email to all the local theater groups and said, hey, I play drums. Do you guys need a drummer? Which was really funny because I had never thought about doing anything like that. I never really was that involved in theater in high school or college. But, you guys responded to me and gave me the opportunity to perform with you, and it's just been really a dream come true. It really has. This has given me the opportunity to meet fantastic people and to perform great music and tell phenomenal stories. I'm just so happy to be a part of this group. Enough gushing, though. There's a point to all of this. This next show has a lot to do with dreams. And Gary, I'll let you go ahead.
Several years ago, ETC produced a play by J.M. Barrie. J.M. Barrie's the guy who gave us Peter Pan. And that play was called Dear Brutus. Much to our surprise, the show was a big hit with both our patrons and our artists. Just something that we discovered looking for a non-royalty production. And then we're pleasantly surprised. The story was simple, elegant, fantastical, relatable, sad, funny, personal, and written from a heart full of fears, desires, and imaginations. We've always wanted to return to Barrie because of his whim and his compassion towards his stories, and characters really identify with ETC's philosophy of engaging the imagination and having fun while discovering things about yourself.
All right, guys, any ideas? ETC explores what it is like to exist in a state where your fantasies identify you with J.M. Barrie's A Kiss for Cinderella. But what if you discover your identity by accident? Similar to the way Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity.
Normally, when I watch a film that contains a heavy dialect, even if it's still English, my ear sometimes focuses on the beauty and the nuance, the lilt of the dialect, and I miss so much of the story and the words. However, that was not the case when I watched the film that inspired our next show, what we will be ending our season on. I immediately identified, engaged, and followed the story. I am a sucker for a good underdog storyline. Friends laugh at me because even though I'm gay, a good sports underdog story hits me in the feels every single time. It's kind of how I see ETC, like the turtle, slow and steady, always pushing ourselves to learn and grow and become better. Obstacles be damned.
And I agree, it is the perfect show to close the season. We are so excited to announce that this season will close with Billy Elliot, the touching musical about a mining town who discovers its identity because of a young man's courage to follow the identity he discovers in himself. And you're right, that's pretty much how to describe ETC. The courage of a vision for professional theater in Chattanooga, and a group that rallies around that vision. Like I said, I came to this group completely by, well, not really by chance or accident, but definitely not expecting to receive what I got. I have met such a diverse group of people. There are returning faces with each production I'm involved in. There are new faces. ETC gives people the opportunity to follow their dreams, to express their identity. I am so proud to say that part of my identity now, something I am proud of, is being a part of this organization. Being a part of Ensemble Theatre of Chattanooga has given me so much joy, so much pride in creating something that can be shared with other people, creating something that inspires other people. I have not been here for very long, but I'm so excited to move forward and be a part of the team that just really pushes this group forward another 10 years. Barriers are lessons learned. Hiccups prove growth. Here's to another 10 years. And okay, Gary, I'll go ahead and quote the lyrics if I have to. I can't really explain it. I haven't got the words. It's a feeling that you can't control. I suppose it's like forgetting, losing who you are, and at the same time, something makes you whole. It's like that there's a music playing in your ear, and I'm listening, and then I disappear. And then I feel a change, like a fire deep inside, something bursting me wide open, impossible to hide, and suddenly I'm flying like a bird, like electricity, sparks inside of me, and I'm free. I'm free. ETC's Sharing the Experience podcast is produced by me, distributed by Pocketful of Posey Production, directed by Garry Posey. As I said, my name is Kyle Coplen. I am the host. Today's episode featured Executive Director and Founder of ETC, Garry Posey. Future episodes will be released in conjunction with each of these shows that we announced during this episode. We'll include additional footage as we dive into the identity of ETC. Like I said, you'll get a history, snippets here and there in each episode, some backstory of the theater company itself as it relates to each show that we do. You'll be able to look at the production from the inside out. You'll meet with the cast and creative team members. You'll even be able to sit in on rehearsals. We'll have interviews with members of the audience as they leave the theater. It's going to be really exciting. Guys, ETC is on the verge of something big, and we are so excited for you to be a part of it. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, send us a rating wherever you're listening to podcasts. If you are listening to this on our own website, we will be on iTunes eventually. So please give us a rating on both, if you will. If you want to help us produce the show, by show I mean this podcast, as well as our regular season shows, please consider supporting our Patreon account. We will link that in the description of the episode. If you'd like to share with us your favorite ETC moment, leave a comment on the episode or send us an email directly. We will leave our contact information in the description for this episode. Thank you again for listening, and I will see you again next time.